Okay. Okay. Testing. Hello. Okay. Testing. Okay. Shavua Tov, which for those of you who do not remember what that means, that is what we say when the Shabbat is done. Shabbat, or Shabbat if you want to be on the Mizrahi end of it, or on the Ashkenazi end of it, Shabbos. I don't pronounce the word Shabbos very well. Dr. Wise feels so much better. I think he says it's not really even good Shabbos. It's more like Guten Shabbos or something. I have difficulties with the Ashkenazi accent. I truly do. And yet, I don't know. I have such a romantic attachment to the Ashkenazi, probably because I am Sephardi. I mean, that's the thing that I think frustrates people when they talk to real Sephardim. They're always shocked to know that out of all the other Jewish peoples, the ones that are the most protective of our Ashkenazi brothers and sisters is us Sephardim. You know why? It's because both Sephardim and Ashkenazim are Oriental Europeans. And that is why most Europeans hate the Roma gypsies, why they hate the Ashkenazim and they hate the Sephardim, because we are a constant reminder to them that not all Europeans are Western. Some of us are Orientals. Yes, Oriental Europeans piss off white people. One person was given a straight up clue, and the rest of you have not been given a clue, and that's okay with me, but I'm going to give you a riddle because I have no faith in whatever audience I have. I think you're both a bunch of who's both? No, I think you're all a bunch of morons, and I say that to you with love and respect and absolute hatred and the contradictions of reality. Let's go to war to make peace. Let's be cold to create heat. I hope in darkness we can see, and you're not blinded by the light from me. Now, most of you are too fucking stupid to know what the fuck I just said, and I'm okay with that. Okay, so me and Jason Unruh have already completed Stop Genocide Part 2. I have been having anxieties about it. He's finishing up the editing, and it will probably come out on Monday. But what I'm anxious about, what gives me such anxiety, is how many reactionary communists with no nuance are going to be pissed off at the way I defend Dr. Weisfeld. I'm having consistent anxieties about how I've been obligated to criticize Dr. Weisfeld for bad takes, reactionary views even. And the fact is, I will debunk a lot of things that Dr. Weisfeld says that are problematic, and I'm going to prove a lot of shit that you dumb commies think he's wrong about, that he's actually correct about it. It's so weird. When he's correct about shit the most, that's when you guys flail your arms and show how white you are, because communism to me is a white word. It's a fucking honky word as far as I'm concerned. Why? Fuck this equality crap. I'm for equity. It's going to take 200 years at the very least to deprogram Europeans from whiteness. And you're going to need Irish, Sephardi, Ashkenazi, and Romani Gypsy overseers to make this happen, so we can force you to be this way. Because you just can't be trusted to wipe your own asses. Especially the English and the Germans. I'm not sure if I even recognize Serbian or Ukrainian nationality, but that's why I won't speak of it too much, because that might be a bit too emotionalist on my side. And if I seek to confront the emotionalism of Dr. Weisfeld, I better be able to shut my mouth about certain things. So I can't speak objectively about Ukrainians. My family was killed by Ukrainians, and they're just as Nazi as before, so it's very hard for me to be objective in that regard. And I've met survivors, Bosnian survivors, that had to deal with Serbian fucking arrogance. So this is who I am. This is why I'm very reserved, because I don't like you guys. You fucking white middle-class fucking pretenders. Just like I said in Stop Genocide Part 1. Right now, very close to where Comrade number 3 lives, there's a big fire coming this way, and they're working on dispelling the fire. In the meantime, I have to put up with everybody saying, hey, read this big article that I wrote that's 600 pages long, and it's a good article that I should get to. And I have to listen to Mark Foster saying, well, Dr. Weisfeld doesn't know what he talks about because things of practice. I'm like, dude, he's nothing but practice. It's actually theory he fails in. Not all theory, though. Some of his theory is absolutely spot on, and that's the part that I'll defend to the hilt. It's just that, in my opinion, Dr. Weisfeld, a lot of his theory has been corrupted by white people, and he doesn't even see it. With that said, it's not for anybody but me to determine what that is, because I've known him the longest. Everybody else is going to look at it through a white lens, and I'm just disgusted by white people. You know what disgusts me about white people? If you go, let's say you're not a rapist and you're not an axe murderer, you're not, you're just somebody that did a small robbery or something like that, or trespassed on private property or something like that, and you ended up in a basic prison. Did you know that any Jewish European, Ashkenazi or Sephardi, doesn't matter, is supposed to say they're white and you belong to the white caste in prison? And if we are to be revolutionary, we're going to have to die and get shanked saying no to that. It is not safe for Jewish Europeans in prison. See, at least in those prisons, you can sell out like that. And in the other prisons, you just get killed. Or you hide with the woods until they notice that your last name is too Jewish for them to accept you. Reality. That's reality. You go to the black people, you could be their bitch, like their sex bitch, yes, because you're just white and you're looking for protection. You go to the white people, they're like, die, you kike. That is how they are. That's reality. Now, so Mark Foster has righteous grievances about Dr. Weisfeld, but he also is belligerent about the plight of Dr. Weisfeld, and I am cornered because of this. I mentioned things, and he's now, to be fair to Mark Foster has been traumatized by Dr. Weisfeld, but to be fair to Dr. Weisfeld, I was proven right. Everybody else was proven wrong. Stone Soviet did fuck with Dr. Weisfeld's brain when he was on morphine, knowing damn well that Dr. Weisfeld, as he gets older, his memory becomes more and more elusive and vague. Now, this is not the same thing as being senile. He does not have dementia. That rumor needs to die. He has been at things for so long. He's got so many developments to cover that it is difficult. And he has been injured so many times that they make him take the morphine. He prefers CBD shit. I'm serious. And THC. He prefers natural remedies. But, hospitals are hospitals and they push what they push. And sometimes you can only afford what you can afford. And yes, he is technically petty bourgeoisie, but he comes from an actual working class position. He built himself up, and he doesn't have the nepotism of the petty bourgeoisie. So he's a legit lumpen petty bourgeoisie. Oh, you just invented a new class, Net. There's no such thing as that. And that's what I'm saying. No, if you're a Holocaust survivor like him in his particular demographic, it very much does apply. And that's where I'm just like, you know what? I'm so fucking tired of placating to Marxian language. I'm sick of it. It's not reality. You guys don't live in reality. You don't live in reality. You live in, look, the problem with both Marxist and anarchist languages, it's from the Enlightenment. That's why I will never concede to calling the male chauvinist system patriarchy. It was called that for chauvinistic reasons on its own, for white reasons. That's why I don't embrace feminism, because feminism is not women's liberation. It was never women's liberation until womanism, which was a black movement, became black feminism, and the Chinese came up with their own feminism. Before that, feminism was pure fucking white supremacy, period, end of story. Shut the fuck up. All you honkies, shut the fuck up. I don't care about your stupid communist theories. I will agree and align with MLM theory, with Marxist-Leninist Maoist theory when it's correct, and a lot of times it is. But most of the times, you guys are just fucking stupid. I'm sorry, you're stupid. You're keyboard warriors. There's some shit going on right now. There is a fire headed towards the reservation. What do you guys care about that? No, you cared about East Palestine and fucking Idaho. I don't give a fuck about those people. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't give a fuck about the citizens of East Ohio, Idaho. I don't. They're fucking white. I don't care. You should arm all the black people over there, seriously, and have them fucking take over. Get them some self-respect. I kind of, the wet dream for some people would be for Black Red Guard to just fucking take over Idaho. That'd be fucking awesome. Probably not going to happen, but that'd be fucking awesome. There's a communist I can respect. I don't agree with him. I think sometimes he's full of shit, but he's real. That's more than I can say for all you YouTube LARPers. So, I'm going to put some stuff into perspective for you all. I have been studying Dr. Weisfeld's claims on his bad takes on Syria, and as my connections strengthen, I'm losing a lot of contact with people because they're saying, look, you don't have to disown Dr. Weisfeld, but you better correct things because you know the truth. And they always direct me to the same person, Richard Melchurch, which, by the way, has been promoted several times by Dark Snovia. He is a Christian Syrian, and the most credible sources about Syria are the Christians. They're the ones that have the most to say that's true. I know that that's difficult for people to hear, but they don't know the difference between the West Church and the East Church. It is not the East Church that did the burning times. That was the West Church. And by the way, the East Church was a victim of that. And the other problem people are going to have is when I honestly say the East Church has more roots to the early church, whereas the West Church doesn't have as many roots to the early church. It has some, but not as many. So it's almost as if the Latin Church had nothing to say against the Greek Church. But at the same time, and I also promised this to Comrade number 3, who has a lot of connections to certain Roman Catholics, that I will continue to defend the integrity of the Roman Catholic Church as it redeems itself. Now, with that said, that does not mean that its history is off the hook. That does not mean that the elements that hold on to the papal power are not still to be rooted out. They must be rooted out. And so those Catholics that don't want that to be rooted out are not going to like me. But it's okay. I'm friends with people who are involved in the great conspiracy to take down the last papal state, that being the Vatican. Will they succeed? Some say it's a pipe dream. Maybe it is, but it's the right course of action. Because yes, there's the Irish Catholics, they're Roman Catholic. There's all kinds of things. You know, another thing, I'm officially saying this now. I'm a friend of the Alamo. I am a friend of the Sunni Muslims. They are my friends. But here's the thing. In recent decades, they've proven themselves to be cowards, with the exception of Hamas. But the Shia are brave. Iran struck back. Wasn't that beautiful to see Iran fight back justly? They were attacked without provocation, and they fought back justly. I'm going to lose probably subscribers of this shit. I don't care. I didn't care about the subscribers to begin with. I only cared to spread information. It's mind-boggling to me how full of shit everyone is. Oh, well, you know, this, that, you know, like theory, you know, lack of praxis, but still theory. Keyboard warrior. What is this about? Dr. Weisfeld will be going back to Nablus. It's inevitable. And I'm not encouraging the idea. I'm just speaking the most likely outcome. They're likely to kill him. And the question is, will anybody cover that? Will there be any press on that? Will there? There better be, because I can't do this myself. I can't do this by myself. I can't. I don't have the resources to handle this myself alone. In fact, here's the thing. I think what baffles Dr. Weisfeld is I used to be connected to all these people, but that's also when other people provided transportation. The Demarchists were forced into hiding because there was not enough media solidarity to help us spread and defend our position. They just had Jason Unruh and Luke Dublin's network. It was known as the Maoist Rebel Network. And yes, the Maoist Rebel Network was actually Luke Dublin. The Engels, that belonged to Luke Dublin. The Engelses, that was the will of Jason Unruh. It was hoped that the Falcon General would continue with Maoist Rebel News Youth and then become Luke Dublin's partner, and that somebody else would handle it. But she was bullied pretty much offline. That's the truth. And then my son, at the time known as Corporal Cat, now known as Corvid AB, tried to take control of it, but it became too difficult, and my son refused to submit to the Stone Soviet. My son was the most annoyed with that, and rightfully so. That was the one that destabilized everything. Manipulated Dr. Weisfeld when he was not at his best mind. Turned us against him, and you know, everybody wants him to denounce her, but like, that's a bit awkward, and I think I've realized that as a PhD he might not be able to. That might get him in a lot of hot water. So I'm looking for ways around this. I'm going to say this. Mark Foster does not have praxis in revolution. Mark Foster comes off as too colonial to me at times, and to other people. He's way too defeatist. He has too much toxic negativity, and he's overly pessimistic. Dr. Weisfeld is the flip reverse of this, though. Dr. Weisfeld has toxic positivity. He's overly optimistic, and often out of touch with what's going on with things that are not involved with Palestine, like Syria or Lebanon. Very out of touch. completely out of touch. But this isn't quite his fault. I'm going to reinvigorate the point here that Baathism is still basically Arab Strasserism, just as much as any communist has pointed out. Like, you know, we've seen both Jason Unruh and you know, Red Pagan say the same. They both said the same thing, and it's true. If you want to get into it, Baathism is not socialism; it's National Socialism. But it doesn't look like Hitlerite National Socialism. It looks more like Strasserite National Socialism. And that gets in the whole hullabaloo of what the fuck National Socialism even is, what the fuck is Nazism, if it's more than just what Hitler had, and that's a big question itself. It's not really a question, it's just I don't have time to get into the nuances of that. Suffice to say, here was always the problem with Baathism. While you could be protected as an ethnic minority or a religious minority, you had to be Arab. Regardless. And so any separate identity of that was not really allowed. Yeah, you could be Christian, but what if you were an Assyrian? Like a national Christian? What if you were an Armenian? Or a Byzantine Catholic? Now, Byzantine Catholics are not ethnic, and this is something I should put out there. So a nation is either based on culture and ethnicity, or culture and religion. Or culture, ethnicity, and religion. If it is culture, religion, and ethnicity, the only word for that is folk. Which, that's an important word to use in Demarchist theory, because it's important to violate German pride. In other words, the Germans were never a folk. No matter what the fuck Hitler said, they were never a folk because they were never one religious group to begin with. And, you know, it's questionable if the Germanic people was ever one ethnicity even. That may surprise people. What the fuck is this crap about Aryanism? Like, Aryan is a play on the word Iran, you know, Persian. And then it became applicable to white people. I mean, that's the bullshit of it. When you wrap away, the same thing with the Ku Klux Klan. When you get down into their stupid little fucking myths, you find out just how full of shit the whole thing is and always was. Hello, my friend. How are you doing? Greetings. Shavua Tov. Just again, to everybody, what that means is good week. It's what you say when the Shabbos is over, or the Shabbat, the Shabbath. Different ways to pronounce that. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want to say from now on. Now, I am the only Demarchist and the only Bundist in the Convergence as of now. Comrade number 3 refuses to let the other Demarchists back into the Convergence because he rightfully is concerned that no matter how much the Maoists and the anarchists are in there, they're not going to listen to the third worldist, you know, mediators, and we would get expelled. And that's probably true. Why? Because one of the 12 principles of Demarchism is national cultural autonomy. Engraved into the Demarchist methodology is the acceptance of the Bund. That's nothing. Bundism is an ideological methodology, but Demarchism as a whole is actually a set of several methodologies connected by these 12 philosophical principles. Prometheus was kind of aware that he caught on to that quite quickly. And the point of being a Demarchist is not that there should always be Demarchism. No. Demarchism is like for socialists what Marxism is for communists. Mind you, I'm saying socialists separately. In other words, socialists who are not communists do not care about equality. I don't give a fuck about equality. I care about equity. I care about liberation. Equality later for equality, liberation now. Socialism before communism. And I'm not against the real communists. Anybody who knows me knows this, but I had some stupid fucker put something in my comment section saying, oh, I'm reactionary and revisionist. And first of all, I'm not a Marxist, so I can't be a revisionist. And then I'm irrational because I don't believe in science. First of all, I am more aware of science than most communists. I am more aware of how science works than almost any of you. Okay? Don't bullshit me. I used to test pool water, chemistry. You know what fucking chemistry is? Probably not. Okay, so I acknowledge what science is and how it works, and the data it accumulates. But what you don't get is you don't know what magic is, and you're going to prove yourself right now, all you so-called faux, or I should say pseudoscientists. You're going to prove how unscientific you are once I explain what science is. Sorry, once I explain what magic is, and then you still say it's wrong, and that is fake and reactionary. These are the 3 pillars of what actual magic is. Number 1, archaic psychology. Number 2, animism. And number 3, cosmic vibration. Materialism, okay, is a great observation tool, but it doesn't really get down to reality. You have to be a realist. Realism over materialism. Dialectical realism. I am for dialectical realism and materialist determinism. Oh, you're for fucking like, oh my god, you're a revisionist, you're a reactionary, a counter-revolutionary because you said determinism. Yeah, except that did not the empire finally prove that they did have a determinism to undermine Iran's security? Syria, the buffer zone, fucking destroyed. Now, what did it lead to? Just what we knew it would be. Hostilities towards Iran. One thing I will say, though, I do believe permanent revolution is going to pop off in Syria, not Egypt. Donna Newman's theory was that it was going to pop up in Egypt because revolutionary potential, yada, yada, Nasser. Except that you have to find, if you want to see any real empathy for Palestine in Egypt, you have to go to pretty much the lumpen proletariat. It doesn't matter if you're Christian or Muslim. In Egypt, they pretty much hate the Palestinians. In Egypt and here in the USA as well. Not universally, but it's too commonplace a problem. It's the one Arab state that might be more aggressively anti-Palestinian at times than even Israel. Is Egypt. Is Egypt. Yes, yes. I have some things to tell you. Mark Foster would make a great therapist. Mark Foster probably would not be able to stand this stream. He's very sensitive. I don't blame him. I understand why he has every right to be bitter towards Dr. Weisfeld. Unfortunately, that bitterness has clouded his judgment. As I was explaining certain things about Dr. Weisfeld, he scoffed too much. Emotionalism. Dr. Weisfeld also has a sense of emotionalism. He is often irrational when it comes to Christians, completely irrational. Like I could have information and facts and he'll call it irrelevant when it's completely relevant. No investigation right to speak. Except he would now get this. His way of investigating is confirmation bias, not truth seeking. He's a free thinker. Free thinkers don't care about the truth. They care about confirmation bias. That's what a free thinker is, confirmation bias. Another factor is Dr. Weisfeld never denounces the Enlightenment. The actual cause of all the colonial shit today is the embracing of the Enlightenment movement, and Marxists and anarchists alike don't disavow this, and that's why they don't get revolution. This hatred to the family and religion, by the way, that's Enlightenment values. That's not revolution. That's whiteness. Yeah, but I was fucking traumatized by the church. Who gives a fuck what you were traumatized by? That's the church, and not even the church. That's the West Church. And that's first of all, like, look at this. How many of these Christians say it's not a religion, it's a relationship with our Lord and Savior Christ? I mean, dude, they just gave away that they're spiritual, not religious. Why is nobody asking spiritual? Because spirituality is the same thing as fascism is spirituality. Spirituality is fascism. Secularism is capitalism. Capitalism is secularism. Enlightenment movement. Fucking pay attention to history. You dumb fucking honkies. I swear. You're so fucking stupid. You white fucking keyboard warriors. You make me sick. You fucking make me sick. Dude, I have more respect for somebody by the name of Mac that goes it freaks me out right there because that shit, that's fucking real. Adversarial as that person may be in real life politics, I can respect that. What I don't respect is people who say, I'm your friend, and they try to get words out of you, then they push you down, and then they say all your friends of color are aristocrats. Typical English bullshit. Comrade number 3's town could burn up in flames. And I've wasted time placating to everybody when I could be running this shit myself. I don't run it because I'm a Jew, because I understand what happens when a Jew runs anything. Then I've already been accused of controlling the MRM network when it was no longer in operation. I never controlled it. Ever. I didn't manipulate anybody ever in there. I didn't even manipulate Stoned and Luke. I mean, I was gaslighted briefly into thinking that by Stone, but no, what happened was Dr. Weisfeld expected me to communicate with Donna Newman when my wife said, you ever speak to that bitch again, we're not married anymore. And I'm sorry, but my family matters. Oh, I must be reactionary. I'm defending what, nuclear family? Is that what it is? Even though primates had nuclear family. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look it up. The gibbons. They're apes. They're not the great apes, but they're apes. Natural. You know what I mean? I'm sick of placating to the bougie Enlightenment language. I'm sick of it. Families are organically multipolar. They organically come in different forms. There is no this uniformity obsession that both communists and anarchists suffer with is why you don't pull off revolution. There are socialists, there are communists, and there are anarchists. We're all socialists, but the thing is, I do defend the commune of anarchy, because the commune of anarchy, in the same way where Marxism is the dialectic of the communists, the commune of anarchy is the dialectic for the anarchists. And that's why it's being repressed by fake anarchists online all the time, because it pretty much uplifts the lumpen proletariat. And it reminds people that anarchism since the 1980s is completely queer. You can't say that about Marxism or communists. By communism, I don't mean communism coming after socialism. I mean like the communists. And I'm not against the communists or the anarchists, if you know me. I'm not. They are sectarian towards themselves and more sectarian towards people like me. So Demarchism is the dialectic of the socialists. Marxism is the dialectic of the communists. The commune of anarchy is the dialectic of the anarchists. You get it? Or are you stupid and illiterate? You're stupid and illiterate. Let's just face it. You are. I'm so tired of fucking placating people. I'm so fucking tired of it. I often, for the last few months, I've been asking, how did I become a whipping boy? And I realized because I was afraid of fucking voicing my own self. Even though people ask me all the time my take. I failed both Luke Dublin and Falcon General. They were constantly coming to me about the problems. And I just was always like, I don't run shit. And I let them both down. So, of course, I would never expect either one of them to vouch for me, as I technically betrayed them both in this way. I betrayed Luke as soon as I let Stone Soviet Kara, what the fuck ever she wants to call herself now, have a position of any power when she's a toxic abuser. And she even abused Dr. Weisfeld. I'm not going to get into the details of that because I'd have to script that so that I'm not slandering anybody. But I'll say this. Dr. Weisfeld has the praxis to be taken seriously. I have several disagreements with him. I will tear apart his line on Syria. I will tear apart his defense of Trotsky easily. It's happened before. He just doesn't remember. And it's not. And no, he's not seeing now. And no, he doesn't have dementia or Alzheimer's. The man is over fucking worked. You don't know. I know. I'm not his apologist, no matter what you fuckers claim. What it is yes, I'm starting to criticize him, but I'm going to start defending him. And I'm sorry if I don't cow down to you fucking commies and believe everything you guys believe. I have more praxis than pretty much all of you. Again, there are people outside my jurisdiction. I just named one. I don't care to bring up people like Black Red Guard, but that is a different jurisdiction altogether. That is a different jurisdiction. I don't represent Arizona. I represent the Southwest. I don't represent Jews of this small city. I represent Caribbean Jews. I represent Southwestern underground Jews and Southwestern insurrectionist Jews. You understand? And in the link in the description below is going to be a link to Revolutionary Orthodox Judaism, Revolutionary Judaism, and Torah Nation. I will elaborate further on what these things are later at a different time. But I'm warning people. It's done. I'm done. I'm done fucking placating to everybody. Now, I am not the leader of the Convergence. Unfortunately for Nicole, that is Nicole, and that's where I'm going to help her as much as I can because I can't lead this damn thing. But as far as the propaganda network is, I'm cooing this shit now. And if you agree to it, Nicole, I'll have your back as you've had mine. Now, no, I'm not controlling a new network or anything like that. I'm placing a program in for Jason, for Jason's sake, for Nicole's sake, and for Jordan's sake, my friends here. Jason Unruh talked about reopening Maoist Rebel Game, but instead of it being me, Jason, and Red Scare TV, Fellow Traveler, how about it being me, Jason Unruh, Red Pagan, and Dark Sylvia? It's a good idea. I think we should do it. We will do it. We will reopen up Maoist Rebel Gang, which is not a network. That's the shoot the shit place, and that's where we were supposed to read the manual. It was going to be on Maoist Rebel Game that we read out loud the manual in case we couldn't get it published. We have part 1 and part 2. Heck, we might have a 5th wheel to that. We might have Maxwell Glover on that. All power to Maxwell Glover's reputation. Maxwell Glover and Dr. Weisfeld should podcast together. They should podcast together. They should. Maxwell wants to. Avi, I think you should podcast with Maxwell Glover. You both have shit lines on Syria, but sorry, not Syria. No, Maxwell's straight on Syria. You both have shit lines on China, but what I like about Glover, and I think you find this useful, Avi, Glover does have nuances about China you can't just wash away. Okay? Believe it or not, there are points that Glover makes about China that are true that you can't just fucking wash away. Would I say China is socialist? Fuck no, it's corporate capitalist. But get this. There is enough socialist program within the civil society. It's not enough on an economic level, I would say, to be called socialist at all. But there is a strong socialist sentiment within the civil society. And Glover has seen it. And Glover is very aware of it. It's one of the reasons why I don't want to say that the DPRK or Cuba isn't socialist. Because, I don't know, culturally speaking, those are both very socialist countries. It's just the capitalist market is destroying the socialism. Some people say Vietnam, but Vietnam is like China, I would say. There's another one, Lao. Gosh, I'm sorry, Glover. There was another one you put out. And we need to have these discussions without fear. And that's what Stone took away from us, was these discussions. Because facts will outweigh facts in the end anyway. What is anybody afraid of? What, you're afraid that I don't like the word patriarchy? Even though what you call patriarchy, I too hate. I just refuse to call it that. Seeming as dads have no say. And real patriarchs like Dr. Weisfeld have no power anywhere. I'm not a patriarch, by the way. I'm a prince. I'm a prince. And I'm speaking in the old cultural context before monarchies co-opted these words. In Hebrew, it's Nasi. In fact, as an interfaith cleric, my actual title as an interfaith cleric, and name among my friends, among my Mexican Catholic friends, my beautiful mestizo Catholic friends, and my Chaldean friends, and my Assyrian friends, and my Greek Orthodox friends, and my Shia Muslim friends from India, and from my Sunni friends from India too, and my friends from Iran. Long live the Alamos, the bravery of the Shia, may they endure forever. It's something I could never explain to you fucking morons. You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't fucking get it. To my Byzantine Catholic friends, my North African Muslim friends, the Ethiopian Christian friends I have, these invisible people you don't care about. Yes, my genderqueer friends. I have friends to protect from friends. I have genderqueer friends that will be so Western and bigoted towards my Christian and Muslim friends they won't get it. And I have Christian and Muslim friends that don't get my genderqueer friends. I have friends to protect from each other. You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't fucking understand. So it's going to be 3 hours and 50 minutes long. Whereas the first Stop Genocide that me and Jason wrote together, the first one, Stop Genocide Part 1, was around 30 minutes or something. It was the warm-up video. It should come out on Monday, I think. Stop Genocide Part 2 is going to be pretty much exactly around 3 hours and 50 minutes long. And there's more me of it than there is in Jason, but every video after is going to have more Jason than me, but we will both be in each preceding video. We're trying to aim for a series of full 10 videos. But in this video, I criticize Dr. Weisfeld's bag takes, and I also strongly defend Dr. Weisfeld and what he's got right. And he gets a lot more right than he gets wrong. You guys just don't fucking know. And it pisses me off how much you guys don't fucking know. He gets way more right than he gets wrong. He gets so much more correct than he gets incorrect. But none of you care about that, do you? because you're worthless white communists, most of you. I will defend Joseph Stalin, and I do defend Joseph Stalin when Dr. Weisfeld's wrong about it. But, you know, surprise, surprise, not every critique Dr. Weisfeld has made of Joseph Stalin is incorrect. Does that surprise you to know that? Of course it surprises you. My problem with my anarchist friends is that they're utopians. My problem with my communist friends is that they're pragmatists. Well, not the third worldists, though. See, I stand with Comrade number 3 on that. There's something different about third worldism. Marxism will be replaced by third worldism. But third worldism is not Leninism third worldism. Not Leninism third worldism. It's Maoism third worldism. Abimael Guzman is important to that. The Shining Path is important to that. You can't talk about Maoism without bringing up Abimael Guzman. The problem is Abimael Guzman didn't create Maoism. He named Maoism. He clarified what Maoism is by saying Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. He gave the Revolutionary Internationalist movement morale, but they actually carried Maoism way more than he did. But for what it's worth, he proved People's War at a time when the Soviet Union was in decline and the revisionism of China was there for everybody to see. Jason hasn't lied when he said that, and he didn't invent that line, that the ones who really pushed that line was the Federated MLN cadres, which are way beyond people like me or Jason. I mean, me and Jason are a bit different. I'm a street level person. Jason is more of a he's more of a newscaster. My role, a lot of people ask me to do things. They wonder why I can't. Like, people get confused, like, yeah, I've seen you organize militias. Yeah, and that's why I have imposter syndrome, because those same people I was telling how to do things, I wanted them to teach me how to fire guns properly. I wanted them to teach me how to fight. I looked up to them, but they were looking up to me the whole time, and I didn't understand why. But apparently it's because I'm so good at public relations. Apparently I'm so good at personalities and fitting them together that people misunderstand me as some great tactical genius, when no. What it is if you go into downtown Phoenix, for instance, I know where areas you have to march and when you have to march backwards and when you have to scatter and how to reassemble. Because I pace around the fucking cities. I do half of what I do is I just pace around the cities, talk to homeless people, give them free cigarettes or whatever. They tell me everything because they're scared and angry and pissed and scared and angry and pissed. And I too am angry and scared and pissed and angry and scared and pissed. Shavua Tov. If somebody can watch this with Mark Foster, because he probably doesn't want to hear a bunch of screaming, that'd be cool. But I really think that Mark Foster makes a great therapist. And I think that Dr. Weisfeld makes a great technician teacher. I think that Dr. Weisfeld has taught me a lot about technology that I didn't understand. I'm angry at the falling out the stone wanted so badly. I would like to double down on my apology to both Luke Dublin and the Engel system, the Falcon General, that I didn't protect you both enough. And where I look back and I promised that I would, and I didn't. I will make this up to you both, I promise. And I'm sorry to Jason. I know that these were the kids you bet on, and I failed you too. I did not manipulate anybody. I was asked to help organize a network because I organized people in the streets. Well, what I did not realize, I knew that social media was toxic. I didn't know how toxic it was. Now I know a lot, and I'm glad and honored and privileged to work with Red Pig and Nicole, who I would still say is actually, despite what she says, is a street level person. She's just, what it is she's not active on the streets the way I am, but she can go on the streets quite clearly. She knows how to talk to them. She's from the lumpen, okay? She knows. And she's from active lumpen, so like she's been around the protesters. Her significant under was considered a veteran, in like literally Portland violence against the cops, against Department of Homeland Security. We need to know. We didn't declare war on the Department of Homeland Security. By the very existence of the Department of Homeland Security, they declare war on us. Solidarity to all genderqueer people, to Queer Nation in general. Solidarity to the lumpen proletariat. Solidarity to Black Power. Solidarity to Comrade number 3, Navajo Nation. May they beat back this fire. You guys probably didn't hear of anything like that on the news, did you? On the reservation, they have to fight a fire that's literally just 10 miles. 10 miles away! 10 miles away from the town that Comrade Number 3 currently lives in, on Navajo Nation. But what do you guys really care about? What do you stand for? Very soon, you're going to find out exactly where I stand for. And by who stays significantly on my side with this and who's against me on this, and knowing that I'm not doing this on me, I'm doing this for my constituents. I am an agent of Comrade Number 3 of Navajo Nation, and I'm not the only Jewish agent of the Navajos, by the way. Warning about that. I am not the only Jewish agent for the Navajos, okay? Solidarity to Comrade Number 3. Solidarity to Red Pagan Nicole and her plight against the transphobes and her struggle to get better employment. Solidarity to Jason Unruh and his struggles with mental illness and his need for a better education. Solidarity to Dark Snowbia, the concerns that he and his brother have as the world around them collapses. Again, solidarity and my apologies to both the Falcon General and Luke Dublin, and you are both under my protection if you need it. Not that either of you really need it. I mean, I don't think Falcone needs it. Falcone can carry a sword and chop things in half if she wanted. You wouldn't want to mess with that chick. She's powerful. But yeah. As far as the propaganda push goes, I'm cooing this shit. And no, I'm not in charge of the Red Pagan Network, and I'm not even leading the Convergence right now. The Convergence, well, nobody leads the Convergence, but the Convergence Forum is sadly been shouldered on Red Pagan Nicole. But I am putting together a propaganda program, and it's going to benefit not just me. Fuck yes, it's going to benefit Jason Unruh, Dark Snowbia, and Nicole. Shavua Tov, have a good week. And I'll give you the riddle again, because I think most of this is just going to go everybody's head, and that's hilarious. I love doing that to people. Let's go to war to make peace. Let's be cold to create heat. I hope in darkness we can see, and you're not blinded by the light from me. And boom, I'm pretty sure that none of you know what any of that means. Okay. Conversions. Okay, the convergence is okay. So the United International Intercommunal Convergence is a multi-tenancy, multi-caste class social orders system against the bourgeoisie and the upper aristocrats to destabilize the first world, to empower the third and fourth world. And by the way, the fourth world exists in both the first world and the third world, just so we're clear. And you can. This documentary will not be monetized series by Jason Unruh mostly explains that. The name Convergence and the forum to help organize it that we never got off the ground was founded by myself, Luke Dublin, the Anglicist, Jason Unruh, the Mouse Rebel, and Dr. Weisfeld, chairman of the Revolution. I hope that explained it. One more time, if anybody can figure it out. Oh, hold on. No, my homie, no. Yo, like, my son, okay? Non-binary, leaning trans max, probably going to go completely trans man as time goes by, the more the dysphoria gets worse, as they say. And while I'm not a big fan of the surgeries, because I am not trans, I will always support any friend that goes to the surgery. And if my son wants to get a big giant penis, what the fuck ever, I guess. Unfortunately, they have to wait till they're 18 because, you know, that's how things are these days. And it should be a conversation. In my opinion, you have to be 16, and it should be a conversation between the parents, the kids, and the doctor. So fuck the government for getting in our way. I am writing a very subversive denouncement of the president. It's called "Hands Off Our Genderqueer Children." It's actually the full title is "Mr. President, Hands Off Our Genderqueer Children." Anyway. Oh, by the way, Raymond, I would never support, not only would I never support any conversion therapy for anybody LGBTQ+, I'm against the whole curing autism crap. I think autism remains something we don't understand. I recently found out for sure that I had it, or I kind of sort of knew. I was just in denial about it. The problem is I'm high functioning, and that's because of all the fucking Ritalin they shoved down my throat as a kid. But I'm going to give this riddle one more time to everybody. Oh. Yeah, well, see, and that's the thing, you know, like, there are always mixed feelings, but gender questioning, dysphoria, autism, and these things that correlate to the trans and genderqueer community, and while these things are not the same thing, these things are different subjects altogether, but they correlate so well together. What I would say is, because of all these factors, I don't have the right, for instance, I don't have the right to get up in Nikki's face and say, you're going to stop with the hormones. You're just going to do the hormones and not do the surgery, okay? I have no right to fucking say that to her. I have absolutely no right to say that to her. Guess why? I'm a cisgender man. I therefore have no fucking stake in that, period. That's how that shit works, you know? And I think you get that. But anyway, I will do the riddle one more time. Nikki was given the secret, which is why she can't solve the riddle. I gave exclusively her the secret to this riddle. Let's go to war to make peace. Let's be cold to create heat. I hope in darkness we can see, and you're not blind by the light from me. Shavua Tov. A good week to everybody. Spread this if you want liberation. I'm serious. Fuck the president.